I'm John Weber for AM Best TV, and we're at Target Markets in Tampa. I'm speaking today with Aaron Farmer. Aaron is CEO of California Flood Insurance Services. Aaron, so glad you could join us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And you've had quite a consequential year in California when it comes to flood, haven't you?
It's been a rough year. Yeah, we've got a lot of things going on, from snow melt, levee issues. We call the Pineapple Express. All kinds of weather events going on in California. So yes, we could, needless to say, it's been pretty busy.
What are some of the key challenges you're facing these days?
Well, if it's from the perspective of from an underwriter standpoint, you have in California specifically, I would say you've got tsunami risk potentially up north. You have we had some record snow, so snow melt has been a huge concern for people at the bottom of the mountains. You have aging levees and dams. That's been a challenge. And then as far down, you've got river issues. And then in San Diego, we actually had a huge event, which you can't necessarily predict, but the cities are not taking care of the floodway channels. So in the case of there's a massive class action lawsuit going on because the city didn't clean out the culverts. So when this flash flood occurred, you had trash and a lot of homeless problems going on. So you had mattresses, tires, all get stuck under bridges. And next you know, people are flooding. So there's a lot going on there in terms of the challenges for flood insurance.
Is that making it difficult for homeowners and businesses to obtain flood coverage?
No, not at all. I think there's more access to coverage than there has ever been. I do believe that a lot of people still believe it won't happen to me, unlike fire or let's say wildfire risk, where if you live close to a canyon, you know you could be susceptible, but just most people still don't think they'll ever flood.
Is flood coverage written differently in California than it is elsewhere, or is it viewed differently in California than it is elsewhere?
No, it's the same. It's the same as any other place. Famous song, "It Never Rains in California," but when it does, man, it pours. So yeah, we've seen some pretty strong events happening in California, and who knows, climate change, but I think we'll see more of them.
Talk to us a little bit about the flood maps in California. First of all, are they up to date?
So as a rider of private flood, we have our own mapping systems, but I think technology today, there's so much good technology with mapping. In the past, you might have a home, let's say a home on either side of the street, and the assumption would be that maybe they both have negative elevation or bad risks, where today we might see one is bad and the one literally 100 yards away is a great risk, depending on the topography of the land. And so with a lot of mapping technologies that are now available, we can underwrite much more specific.
Keeping with the technology theme, are the models able to keep up with the way floods have evolved, especially in California?
So yeah, I think they are catching up. I think there's a lot of different techniques out there, from models to mapping. AI now is a good buzzword, and we're seeing some technologies that can help us underwrite. So yeah, I think they're catching up.
So I'm hearing about something called Flood Zone X. What is that?
Flood Zone X. Well, that's typically would be a low risk flood zone. However, we do know that 30% of all flood claims originate in a flood zone X. Mother Nature doesn't know or care what flood zone you live in. So water's going to come and it's going to go where it goes, which really lends itself to people really should be concerned. More climate change. We're seeing more X zone activity probably than we ever have.
I'm assuming you're talking about inland flooding when you're talking about Flood Zone X.
Predominantly, but there could be it all depends on elevation. So there could be flood zone X near a beach. Certainly there's a lot of zone, like in Oceanside, California. There's a lot of X zone. You're right near the water, so you're not necessarily inland, but the X zones could be they're all over the place. Certainly, again, people should really be concerned about it, and it's so inexpensive. You can take care of that problem for $40 a month, maybe cost of a pizza and a couple of beers, and you could protect yourself at least for up to like $250,000.
Aaron, how do you see the flood market evolving in California?
I think it's the same, like it's evolving everywhere. There's continue to be good underwriting, finding the right risks. I do believe it's going to grow. Agents, I think if there's a challenge is getting the word to people. You know, we try, but the people, I'll say consumers, they're getting rate hikes on their homeowners insurance, right? It's like astronomical rate increases. So I think there's a little bit of anxiety on that. So then to add flood on top of it is a little bit of a challenge, but I think, you know, there's going to be more growth for sure.
On top of that, writers leaving the states because of things like wildfire and some of the other risks. I'm assuming that plays into it too.
Well, so as a managing general agent, and we work with a lot of agents, I think you see that agents currently are overworked. They're losing carriers. Their customers are calling every day with non-renewals. So they're preoccupied with just trying to stabilize their insurance agency. So asking them to then, hey, by the way, you should be selling flood to your customer. I think it's just a difficult time for most agents in this hard market. It's probably the hardest we've seen in decades. I think that contributes to the challenge of getting flood out to the consumer.
Well, best of luck. Aaron Farmer, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it.
And from Target Markets in Tampa, I'm John Weber for AM Best TV.